Okay, so we are going to look at parallel lines. You should remember this. I'm going to try and make these parallel. And then I'm going to cut them by a transversal. And if these lines are parallel, I get angle relationships. Okay, Zach, question? Now, if you do a nice drawing, it's a big if. And that's a nice drawing because I use the tools. If you do a nice drawing, then what appears to be true generally is true. So when you're taking the ACT, you want to look at it, and they do some nice drawings. And if you can't figure out how to solve the problem, then just believe the drawing, because it's better than doing nothing, because if you do nothing, that's wrong. Now, I don't know if there's penalties on the ACT. I know they took them out of the SAT and all the AP. There's no penalty for guessing. But I don't know if ACT is doing that. Okay, Lane, I need you focused here. Now, do you remember what kind of angles these are? 2 and 3. What letter is, well, that's an X, dang it. What letter is the green? It's a V, so they're vertical angles. Now, you don't have to know the vocabulary, but you do have to know the notation. As you get into the problems, you'll understand what I'm talking about. If you don't know the notation, you can't read the question. Then you can't read the question, you can't answer it. Okay, they're vertical angles. What about 2 and 4? They're special angles too. They're supplementary because they form a linear pair. Okay. Here's the thing, Zach, about lines that are cut, parallel lines cut by a transversal. Either the angles are congruent or they're supplementary, which means they add to 180. So we're going to write that down. So either the angles are congruent. I would like to use the word supplementary, but I think in parentheses, I'll put sum equals 180. What does complementary mean? Sum is what? Because they may give you that 90. Complementary. Sum equals 90. Okay. So they may tell you on the test, okay, Zach? They may tell you on the test they have complementary angles. Now, here's the thing. You have parallel lines cut by transversal. Look at the picture. What generally appears to be true is true. So if I look at angle 2 and angle 8, they're either congruent or they add up to 180. Sorry, I can't fix that, but that's okay. So we're looking at 2, this one, and 8. Just look at the pictures. Are they congruent?
Yeah.
No. This is acute. That's obtuse. So then that means they must be what? The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 8 equals 180. Now the problems that are on the packet can be kind of challenging. Some are easier than others. You might have to do a few steps. Remember some of those star problems we've done. You may have to do something like that. Okay? Any problems with parallel lines? It's pretty easy. They're either equal or they're supplementary. If you have a decent picture, whatever looks to be true is true. We should know this one, the sum of the angles of a triangle. I'm not sure we do, but I'm going to add in a couple things. Here's A, B, and C. Measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C adds up to what? 180. Okay? Now, remember again, guys, that the ACT is a timed test. So if you know some theorems, it'll go faster. You can figure out things. Now, if this is your angle, oh, first before we do that, let's make this x and 2x and 3x, because they might give you a problem like that. Because the sum of these angles adds to 180. So I get x plus 2x plus 3x is 180, or 6x equals 180. What's x? What's x? You know how to do that. 30. Don't scare me. I know you know how to do that. Okay. But why, back in first semester, I wanted you to write the equations because I know that on this exam, and it may be worse than this, by the way. It may be x plus 1, 3x minus 10. Then you have to add them up, and you have to do the algebra. You can't just manipulate numbers. Now, there is a theorem, and Zach probably remembers it, right, Zach?
What theorem are we talking?
Exterior angle. This angle, that's outside the triangle, is equal to the sum of the two remote interiors. Now, remote means it's not right next door. It's this angle and that one. Those are remote. So let's call this angle 1. The measure of angle 1, you guys. Now, you guys can work it out and you can find, all these angles. You don't have to know this theorem, but it really speeds things up. The measure of this angle is equal to this angle plus that angle, c plus b, so it's equal to x plus 2x, or it's equal to 3x. If x is 30, 3 times 30 is 90. So if you can remember that little theorem, and it occurred on the final exam several times actually, it's useful. But it's not necessary because you can find these angles and you can subtract from 180. But when you look at these angle problems, when you start getting into them, you're going to find out if you know this little exterior angle theorem, the problems are a lot easier. Okay, we know that. This is all review. I don't know if we remember this one.
We're just doing it.
Yep, we're doing this for a couple days. And then we will have ACT prep. Shh.
Are we going to have an ACT prep quiz?
Yes, tomorrow. 1.
Why don't we just study for the
Shh. We have to know all the material. So, guys, shh. The ACT problems will be embedded into our classes. So you'll have a little bit of ACT questions on your tests and things like that. Now, that's an octagon. Do you remember the formula for the sum of the interior angles?
Oh, it's like something -1.
Well, let's figure it out, Zach. Zach, come up front, please. Come on. Now, you're going to sit right there. Where's your iPad? Okay, you guys. Now, let's say I forget. Okay, guys? TJ? Let's say I forget. I'm going to start at a vertex and I'm going to draw triangles. How many triangles can I draw? There's 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many degrees in a triangle? 6 times 180, whatever that is. How many sides were there?
Minus, like 2.
8. So the formula is n minus 2 times 180. But if I can't remember it, I might draw the picture and figure it out. Now the angle, if you extend the side, that's called an exterior angle. And you guys remember the sum of the exterior angles?
What?
Sum of the exterior angles is always 360. No, that's the sum of the exterior angles. Now, the measure of the exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by n, because if it's regular, only if it's a regular polygon. If you have the number of sides times the exterior angle, that has to always add up to 360. If it's regular. If it's not regular, it's not true. But they still always add up to 360. Okay, so those are some quick little things you might see, you might not. Now, I'm going to draw a parallelogram. It would certainly be nice in Notability if they would put some tools in like this, wouldn't it?
We should write a letter to them.
Yeah, we could.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember, if you draw a good picture, what appears to be true generally is true. These are parallel lines. They're cut by a transversal. What about 2 and 3? Are they congruent, or do they add up to 180? They add up to 180. So measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. What about 1 and 2? Look at the picture. Obtuse, acute. They add up to
180.
180. So consecutive, which means one's right next to each other, angles sum to 180. Well, now let's just think for a second and look at the picture. What generally looks true is true. These are supplementary. 1 and 4 are supplementary. What can you say about 2 and 4? No, there's no complementary. Remember, parallel lines. Parallel lines are either congruent or supplementary. Not vertical. They're opposite angles and they're congruent. TJ, we just sit up, please.
Sorry.
Opposite angles in a parallelogram
What's up?
are congruent.
Excuse the interruption. Is Jesus our taking class?
Yes.
Could you have friends say,
Okay. Okay, 2 more things. Zach, calm down. Okay. Isosceles triangles and equilateral triangles. You remember those?
Yep.
What's an isosceles triangle?
2 congruent sides.
Okay. Okay, guys, you're going to think, go. If I have an isosceles triangle, what's true about these base angles? They're congruent. You're going to need to know that on that worksheet. Base angles are congruent. They're going to give you an isosceles triangle, but they're not going to tell you which sides are congruent. And they're going to say, which one of these can't happen? I hate those. They're hard. Okay, what about an equilateral triangle? TJ? What about an equilateral triangle?
Oh, they're all.
What's they? What's all the same? The sides are all congruent and the angles. Okay, if the angles of a triangle add up to 360, how big is each angle? 60.
Yeah.
Because they're all equal. Okay. You will find the isosceles triangle problems more challenging than you would expect. Now, Zach, we have these things called clock problems. I didn't really want to do these. However, Mrs. Johnson said she saw a lot of them on the test. There were many of these. So I'll give you a quick example. What is the angle formed at 3 o'clock between the minute hand and the hour hand? I draw a picture.
Nice.
Yes, this one's easy. There's 3. Okay? Now, what if this is a problem off the packet, it's number 3, I think. What if it's 3:10?
Oh.
So here you have, here's the minute hand. What's happened to the hour hand? It's moved. So you have this one, but the hour hand now is down here. The question is, how many degrees? How many degrees is this one? And then how many degrees does the hour hand move? I'll leave it up to you. Maybe before we leave today, I'll end up doing the problem. I fell into the distractors because I found this angle, and for some reason I didn't think the correct answer was there. So I selected that angle, and that's wrong. So I'll let you think about it. you do have to consider that the hour hand moves. And that's what this whole packet's about. And I've got a picture of the whole packet, I think. There it is. You have to be able to read the symbols. Zach, let's move another table over.
Skip by.
No, sit over there. We're not going to waste our time.
Here, I know.
Okay, shh, you guys. You should say line FH, not segment FH, but FH is parallel to AD. And when I looked at the picture, BE is perpendicular to GC, I didn't necessarily believe it was perpendicular when I looked at it, and it doesn't have to be, but if you look at it carefully, this is a right angle. So this is a right triangle. And knowing the exterior angle theorem makes this an easy problem. There's your isosceles one, there's your clock, 310. Exterior angle theorem makes this much easier. So these are up there on Schoology. You are going to need your iPad because the quiz is on Skyward. I will have a paper pencil copy for you as well. So everything's in both places, actually. And I found is that if I don't give you the paper pencil piece, you tend to just guess. You got to do the work. And you can't write on the Skyward quizzes like you can on this. Okay? These are all angle problems today. Let's go ahead and look at number 5 because I know we're going to have questions on that. It says the measures of angle ABC of a triangle in the ratio of 3, 4, 5. I'm actually going to get a different smart board for this so I can do this. Have more space. Okay, so I have a triangle, and the measures, this is number 5, I believe, are 3 to 4 to 5. Not the sides, but the angles. So the angles could be 3, 4, and 5. But there's a problem with that. If those were 3 degrees, 4 degrees, and 5 degrees, it doesn't add up to 180. So what we could do is we could double them. So then this would be 6, 8, and 10. So this was times 2. Guess what? Do they add up to 180? 6 plus 8 plus 10 is 24, not 180. So you could triple them. 9, 12, 15. This is taking too long. I could do guess and check. So guess what I'm going to do?
30, 40.
I don't know. Let x equal the multiple. Then what would the ratio look like? 3 to 4 to 5. Any multiple of those will be 3, 4, 5. 3x to 4x. And I don't think you've seen a problem like this before. To 5x. This is number 5. It says the ratio of the angles is 3 to 4 to 5. You could have an angle of 3 degrees, 4 degrees, and 5 degrees, but it doesn't add to 180. You could do it twice that. You could do it 3 times that. You could do it 10 times that. It will take you time to do it. So I don't know what it is. So I'm going to let it be x. Then my triangle becomes this. 3x. I think I switched it around, but it doesn't matter. 4x and 5x. Is the ratio of these angles 3 to 4 to 5?
Yes.
Yeah. But what has to happen about these guys? They have to add up to 1. What are the sum of the angles of a triangle add up to? 180. So how many x's is that? I have 3 and 4 more, and 5 more is 12x. Equals 180. TJ, do you know how many times 12 goes into 180?
4, 7, 4.
Close. It's 15.
Wow.
Now, if you look at the answers, A is 15. That's not the question. It's a distractor. It wants the largest angle. So what do you have to do to get the largest angle? You got to multiply it by 5. So 5 times 15 is 75. So the answer is E, not A. So when you are taking these tests, you need to read through all the answers, which is why I got stuck. No, I made a mistake. But anyway, I fixed it. So it's right now on the answer keys. Answer keys up online.
We get the homework.
Yeah, it's online.
Oh.
this our homework?
Yeah, it's online. It looks like this. No, that was your notes. Your homework looks like that. That's the homework. There's like 18 problems. Then tomorrow, if you get stuck on something, I showed my work if there was work to show. So use that to help yourself. And tomorrow you'll have a quiz on this. There are 10 problems taken out of the 18. These are all angle problems. We're not going to do the area volume yet. We'll do that Monday. So there's a quiz on this tomorrow. And before we take the quiz, you can ask me questions on any of these problems. And I've already done one. Okay. And where do you find them? You go into Schoology, and you go to ACT Problems. Well, honestly, you want this on your iPad because you're going to keep your iPad through your senior year. And when you're preparing for the ACT, you'll be thankful that you have this on your iPad because you won't lose it.
But everything's
Deleted
deleted.
everything.
Don't delete it. Back it up to the cloud.
They deleted everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
you got to back it up to the cloud.
Cloud.
That's right. So,
How do you back up?
under settings, way to do it. Okay, so that's it. You have time to work with partners. I'm fine with that. Work together. Because when you talk math, you learn math.
Like water bottle.
You can look for it now. But Zach, can we not do that anymore?